Let's make stuffed cabbage. Hi, it's Stuffed Cabbage Adventures, and right now it's winter time. The holiday season is here, so one thing that every single Hungarian household has in common is that they will make one particular dish, and that is the stuffed cabbage. So let's see if me, who is not a great cook, can actually make my very first stuffed cabbage, or töltött káposzta as we say in Hungarian. Hi, Neko. So let's look at the ingredients first. The star of the show obviously has to be the pickled cabbage. These are pickled cabbage leaves. You will also need shredded pickled cabbage. We will put filling in it, which will be ground pork, and right next to the pork, some rice. Now you also need some spices for this, and as every Hungarian dish, this will also need some paprika. Of course, you also need some cumin. We have some bay leaves, salt, and pepper. Good friends go together. Now we will also need some onion and real garlic. Now most Hungarian households do this very differently. And besides the pork, it's good to have some meat that has some smokiness to it. So you can choose whatever meat you like, but what we love is, of course, the real Hungarian kolbász, Hungarian sausage, plus some bacon. Everything loves bacon, every food is better with bacon, and here we have some real nice kolozsvári szalonna. And at the end we will also need a little bit of oil and a little bit of flour, apparently for the thickening. I have no idea how this will be done, but my lovely producer will definitely help me with that. There's one more secret ingredient, but that is not for the food, it's mainly for me. This is a very tedious Hungarian dish. It takes a little bit of a longer time, and I do need something to go well with it. Some nice Hungarian wine from Szakszárd. Alright, let's dive into the dish itself. So first we will need to chop everything that requires chopping, starting with the onion, because let's get over the crying part first. Please only learn the recipe, don't learn how I cut. It's not good, I know. This is a gyulai kolbász. If you come to Hungary, you may want to try two different kinds, which is the gyulai and then there's the Csabai. Two cities very close by, but they have slightly different sausages. A lot of people would go to war to defend, if it's the gyulai the best, Csabai the best. To me, both of them have one thing in common, and that is that they are pretty delicious. So next we have the lovely bacon. Now you can also shred this into smaller pieces, but my dad got this from the butcher's this morning and he recommended to have larger chunks. Let's see how that will turn out. Now that we have completed the chopping process, let's start to cook. And first, we need to sauté the onions. In Hungarian, we say dísztelni. So let's start with that. Now, normally we do travel videos about Hungary and Budapest, but the channel's name is Stuffed Cabbage and it's one of my favorite Hungarian dishes. So we thought that at the end of this year, celebrating 1 year of this channel, we're gonna make it. Let's see if it's gonna be tasty. And now comes the messy part, because this is where we are creating the stuffing for our lovely stuffed cabbage. And if you need the measurements for this particular recipe, then look in the description. I will not bore you with the numbers here, but let's dig into this part. Now, regarding the rice, some people actually pre-cook it just halfway through. We are doing this for a longer run, so it means that we did not need to pre-cook the rice. It will cook during the whole getting together process. And now we have everything in here that we need for our stuffing, so now comes the wrestling part. Let's mix everything together. Now, as I'm mixing this, let me tell you a fun fact about stuffed cabbage. We Hungarians just love this food, and cabbage itself is a very popular dish and popular vegetable here in Central Europe. And we like to think that, you know, this is something that we created, but the thing is that originally this is coming from Turkish culture, where they call it sarmak or sarmak, I don't know. We have the Great Plains in Hungary, where they also call this sarma, right? Because apparently in Turkish culture, it means to cover, to wrap. We're gonna cover these with tasty cabbage leaves. So now comes the part where we are rolling the stuffed cabbages. Bang. So we roll once, then we tuck it in. By the way, in Erdély, Transylvania, home of the settlers, the Székelys, they call this takart, which literally means to tuck in. So let's put this nice cabbage to sleep with tucking it in. Here you go. These pickled cabbages are from a very unique place here in Hungary called Vecsés. It's right next to the airport actually, and they are really famous for their pickled cabbage. If you go to the shop and you look for a vecsési savanyú káposzta, then you cannot really go wrong. However, I would highly recommend first tasting them, because if they are a little bit too, pickledy, too sour, then you can wash them. And that way you can adjust the flavor to how you wish. In case you don't have access to pickled cabbage, you can actually make it on your own. And if you want to know how, then we are leaving a link in the description. Alright, so this is the last one. We are ready to put everything in a pot and cook our lovely stuffed cabbage. Now we will start layering. And first, what we're gonna do is take half of our shredded cabbage and make the bed for our rolled ones. And now let's put our smoky meat in here as well. We'll just use half of them. And now you guys come here. Now it's advised to make sure that every single meatball inside is the same size so that they cook evenly. So in the beginning we also said you need bay leaves, and this is the time for them to shine. We'll take about 6 leaves here and try to hide them. Now comes the rest of the meat. If you have some leftover meat, like we do, you can just make small meatballs out of them and use the remaining space in this dish. And now, the rest of our shredded cabbage. Final step, we just need to add some water, roughly till this little point, so don't cover the whole thing, but cover it like if you can already see the water. Now that this part of the process is complete, we get to the boring part, which we will make a little bit more interesting thanks to the wine. But we will be simmering this for roughly 2 hours on low heat, so let's do that. By the way, if you're still watching, that probably means you are interested in Hungary and Hungarian culture. Now let me tell you, if you subscribe to this channel, that means we are bringing to you a lot of Hungary-specific content. Because if you're still here watching me making this stuffed cabbage, probably means you're enjoying this. And I'm really thankful for that. Thank you. Don't forget to check on your cabbage rolls during these 2 hours, because maybe the water is boiling too much. Don't let that happen. Or if the water is completely gone, you may need to add a little bit more. So why is this a winter thing? Cabbage, if you ever left it in your kitchen for like 2 weeks or something and went back and found it, oh, I still have a cabbage, it will still be fine, because cabbage is a very resilient vegetable and it actually keeps the meat not to spoil. So we make this in large batches, then keep it in our cool garages and will still remain tasty. This is about done, but first we also need to make the thickening. And for that we will need a little bit of oil, a little bit of our lovely paprika, and the flour. and maybe some water as well. When it's about this consistency, then it should be done. And now let's add this to our lovely stuffed cabbage. Once you have evenly spread the thickening, we're gonna leave this for 15 minutes so that it can make its own magic. Awesome! Now it's time to finally plate. We Hungarians love sour cream, so here is my stuffed cabbage. Bon appetit, or as we say in Hungarian, jó étvágyat. This is amazing. I made it. I made stuffed cabbage and it tastes brilliant. If you're still here watching, thank you very much. And also watching some of our other videos throughout this past year. This is a perfect send-off for 2022. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and see you guys next year in our newest videos. Now I'm gonna dig in some more. Bye!